So the entire medicine has to change from therapy of old people with diseases to prevent the diseases early.
AI could be a key with omics to solve some longevity problems.
Absolutely. Inflammaging offer a unitarian way.
Unique way.
So unitarian. So this means that if you decrease inflammation, you decrease not simply one disease, but multiple diseases. Family members share the gut microbiome. The gut microbiome altogether have 100 times the genes of our genome. 1 year Mediterranean diet, you gain 1.5 years of rejuvenation.
Don't you think that the role of epigenetics is being overestimated when people say that 80% of your health depends on epigenetics?
We suggested that aging is extremely personalized. Each person is aging in its or her own way. The supplement is to have a conversation with people like you in this environment with such provocation. I think that with a small type of wine, you are provoking me, so you are, and this probably rejuvenate my neurons, you know. So if you would like to live healthy and long, you must follow Mediterranean diet and pay attention to your gut microbiome.
Друзья, это выпуск, посвященный антивозрастной медицине. И мы встретимся с итальянским ученым, одним из ведущих специалистов мира в области антивозрастной медицины, Клаудио Франчески. Это не фигура речи, что он является одним из лидеров в этой области. Он действительно внес огромный вклад в развитие антивозрастной медицины. В 2000 году, 25 лет назад, он ввел такой термин, как Inflammaging, то есть ускоренное старение, обусловленное системным хроническим воспалением. Встречайте Claudio Franceschi. Dear Claudio, it's a great honor for us to meet you in Russia, in Moscow, in our clinic. And you know, Italy gives the world a lot of famous, amazing people, from Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, even football players, Francesco Totti, Roberto Baggio.
Maldini.
Paolo Maldini. Paolo Maldini.
Maldini.
And singers, Placido Domingo, Luciano Pavarotti. And in medicine field, in field of anti-aging, in Italy, present to the world, the star of Claudio Franceschi.
Thanks a lot.
I'm not speaking figuratively, because everybody's mad about ChatGPT now. And if we will use ChatGPT and ask who are the most famous doctors in Italy, all over the time, we can find Girolamo Fracastoro. He was the first in the world who talked about syphilis.
Yes.
Santorio, he was Venice doctor who investigated thermometer. Camillo Golgi,
Nobel Prize.
Nobel Prize.
Yes.
And Claudio Franceschi, immunologist.
I am in good company, isn't it?
Yeah, very good.
Very good company.
Yeah. Immunologist and father of concept Inflammaging.
Inflammaging, yes.
Nowadays, you have a lot of projects, some projects in Russia, also in Nizhny Novgorod with Lobachevsky Institute.
Yes.
Claudio, can you please tell why Russia and what are these projects?
Well, I think that the major project regards the increasing number of old people everywhere.
All over the world.
All over the world, including Russia. And so the entire medicine has to change, because has to change from therapy of old people with diseases to prevent the diseases early in life. So we need another approach, and there are other two considerations. We have omics, so we can measure in single patients or single person 100,000 of parameters. Mm-hmm. And the second is the use of artificial intelligence, and also the artificial intelligence can go to the single person. We are using this type of artificial intelligence in Nizhny Novgorod and Lobachevsky. So if you put together the aging of the population, the omics, and the artificial intelligence, the entire field of medicine should change enormously. We are at the beginning of a new revolution, and I hope that these beautiful buildings here and your attitude will help in going in this direction.
There was a news 2 weeks ago that OpenAI and RetroBio company, they designed Yamanaki factors.
Yes.
And they made AI model that successfully redesigned Nobel Prize winning proteins to reverse.
To rejuvenate.
Yeah, to rejuvenate. What do you
yes.
think about artificial intelligence?
Well,
And Yamanaki factors also.
I got a mega grant in 2018 on a topic merging aging and artificial intelligence at Lobachevsky. So we were anticipating this fact that artificial intelligence is becoming dominant in medicine. And you know that there is a new journal, the New England Journal of Medicine, Artificial Intelligence, you know.
Yeah, of course.
So this just to let you understand that the major journal in the world, New England Journal of Medicine, has created another journal on artificial intelligence. So this means that artificial intelligence will dominate the next future, and together with the omics, because you cannot analyze the amount
Big
of
data,
big data, without artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence, omics, and aging.
Yeah.
So this is a terrific triad, and I think that here should be a place where you can be at the forefront, because you have all the conditions to do this. And Russia, in this sense, can be at the real forefront. We were talking, for example, of new clocks
Of aging.
that we can develop here regarding the endocrine system, and you can put this together with clock that we have developed regarding the inflammatory clock and the cognitive clock. We recently published a paper in Nature Aging, which is the major journal in the field. So we are at the forefront. Together with you, we can a big project.
So AI could be a key with omics.
Yes.
To solve some
Yes.
longevity problems.
Absolutely. Not only to, so the hypotheses are two. The first is to slow down the aging process as much as possible. The other is to identify factors that can rejuvenate you. Just to give you an example, I was the chief of a European project of 9 million euros, so a big project involving 5 European countries, and we showed that 1 year of Mediterranean diet in people from 65 to 79 years of age, eventually, just 1 year of Mediterranean diet was able to decrease the biological age checked with epigenetic clock of 1.5 years.
It's an amazing result.
This was done in 600 people that of 5 countries that follow the Mediterranean diet, with 600 people of control. So it's a big, huge study. And you can imagine 1 year Mediterranean diet, you gain 1.5 years of rejuvenation. So to rejuvenate is not necessary to make unbelievably things,
Results.
but also a good diet.
Quality of life.
Yes, and if you add some physical exercise and a good diet and a medical care followed you, that can follow you, I think that we are there. This is the future for the people, because other technologies of, say, with Yamanaka factor and so on, you know, you must be careful, because there is the possibility that they can help in developing cancer.
Yeah.
So, you know, this is an open question. But Mediterranean diet, no, there is no doubt. We Italians are the examples, because in Italy we have some of the most long-living population.
Yeah.
The
Sardinia.
centenarians. No, in Italy now there are 25,000 of centenarians.
Wow.
More than 1,000 of them are 500 of age, so semi-super centenarians.
What is the secret?
Well, of course, diet is one of the secret, and then of course education of the population, economic status, because there is a huge difference even in Italy between rich and poor people. So we have to increase the health of the minority of the people that are not particularly rich. So you know, this involve all politics, also politics.
Yeah.
So it's health, a health problem, a political problem, and a scientific problem all together.
Yeah.
And we can be at the forefront.
Когда мы обсуждаем диеты, конечно, средиземноморская диета одна из самых полезных и эффективных. Но не стоит забывать, что у каждой нации, у каждого человека свой микробиом. И проводились исследования, например, когда пищу, которую ели долгожители эскимосы, употребляли в пищу китайцы. И наоборот, те китайцы-долгожители, которые употребляли свою аутентичную пищу, передавали эскимосам. Она абсолютно не подходила друг к другу, разным нациям. Более того, она усугубляла развитие хронических заболеваний. Поэтому и эти факторы также надо учитывать. But ecology in Italy is amazing ecology. Sea breeze and fresh air.
This is the reason why I am inviting you to Bologna. Bologna is in the River Po Valley. It's not particular, but Bologna is an unbelievable city. The oldest university in the world. So I invite you
Thank you
to
so
come
much. Thank
to Italy, to Bologna, to the seaside, to Venice, to Florence. My parents were from Florence, so you know, I know this type of...
I think we can invite everybody who is interested in the field of longevity medicine.
Yes, longevity
quality
medicine. Yes,
of life.
longevity medicine is the future.
When we talk about Mediterranean diet, we are talking about vegetables, about
Fish.
oil.
Fish. You can have a lot of fish here.
Yeah, we have a lot of.
Yes, so
And
what?
What do you think about tuna? Because tuna is
Yes.
is a lot of mercury.
Mercury, yes. But
And all big fish seems to be toxic in heavy metals.
yes, you are right. So we must be careful with the tuna fish, but fish in general is great. So and a lot of vegetables and the fruits every day. So you have to have fruits and also it's interesting that it's better to eat together other people.
Yeah,
not
community.
Community is very important. If you eat alone, usually your diet is not good.
And if you eat with toxic people, it's also very bad.
Oh yes.
You should avoid toxic people as
Yes,
well.
exactly. So conviviality is extremely important. So eating together with the father, mother, and the children, and you know, eating is a human behavior. It's not just to feed the. No, this is very important, the diet, because you know that I suggested you to pay a lot of attention to the gut microbiome, because half of what you eat is taken from the bacteria, and the gut microbiome send messages to the brain, to the liver, to the kidney, and so on. So in future studies, we have to pay attention not only to what the people eat, their diet, but also to the gut microbiome. Here you have to develop this branch of medicine because now you can measure the composition of, and I showed that the centenarians do have a specific and very good type of gut microbiome. So if you would like to live healthy and long, you must follow Mediterranean diet and pay attention to your gut microbiome.
If we are talking about microbiome, it's very important thing in all our health. But there are a lot of medical stuff. There are a lot of medical medicine, some probiotics, metabiotics, symbiotics, and even fecal transplantation.
Yes.
There is a new approach to.
It could be interesting to propose to the people to take some of their feces when they are healthy.
Yeah. To
freeze them and reuse when they become old in order to make in the same person, so without any problem, to make auto-transplantation of your own gut, young microbiome, when you start becoming old. This could be offered to the people. Take some of your feces, put in the fridge.
Is it popular now in Italy, fecal
No,
transplantation?
Fecal transplantation, but only for diseases.
For diseases.
For diseases.
Yes.
No. I am thinking fecal
Just
transplantation
for the future.
Auto-transplant.
Yeah, auto-transplantation.
Auto-transplant without any problem. So you could put your
In bank?
In bank them
To store it.
to store them when you are young and healthy,
Yeah.
and then take back when you are becoming old and the gut microbiome start having problems.
But I think when you are young, your microbiome is not healthy because everybody drinks some Coke, some sandwiches, some junk food like
You can
hot
test.
dogs.
But you can test.
Yeah.
You can test. So if you can take a guy,
You test his
test
microbiome.
and if it's okay, you can put. Otherwise, you can say for 1 month, 3 months, do not eat Coke, whiskey, or vodka, and come back.
How could we know? Should we take some probiotics, symbiotics, or metabiotics to keep healthy our microbiome if we don't have some symptoms?
Yes.
Bloating, pain.
Yeah.
Should we do it or not?
Well, the topic is very complex. What I can tell you, sorry if I say this, we wrote together with Professor Ivanchenko at Lobachevsky and Professor Alexei Moskolov here in Moscow. We just published a paper on inflammaging, the idea that with age there is this inflammation, and on geroprotectors.
Mm-hmm.
So, for the first time, this idea of discussing about the possibility to take geroprotectors is in the major journal on aging. Nature Aging is the best journal in the field.
And what kind of geroprotectors?
Geroprotectors there are many geroprotectors, and some are more safe and important than others because there is a long list. So I invite you and the people who hear us to give a look to this paper, make a link, because this is the most scientific approach to your question, which is a very important question. But I think that the geroprotectors have a lot of future. They can be very effective. Not all, not always. So, you know, is a new avenue.
I want to ask about leaky gut. So
leaky gut, yes.
Because
yes.
some of science talk that there is no leaky gut at all.
No. There is a leaky gut, and there are a lot of papers showing that from the gut some inflammatory stuff, molecules, go to the brain. The brain is becoming more leaky also. And so these inflammatory molecules enter the brain and help the brain to become Alzheimer and Parkinson. Mm-hmm. So if we have a good diet, a good microbiome, we can decrease the incidence of Alzheimer and of Parkinson, both related to the gut. So you can imagine there is an enormous importance in this point of preventive medicine.
But should we take some probiotics, metabiotics just for prevention, or
yes,
or we just need to?
There are few. Yes, I don't think that here is the best place because we are not to make propaganda, I would say. Yeah. But I think that we have not to encourage self-cure. No, I think that in any case the people should have an advice of a medical doctor, because this is an important topic. It's not a self-medicine. So the message is not that you just go to a shop and take what you like. No, this is an important topic that should be under the supervision of a doctor that knows exactly what geroprotectors are, what the gut microbiome are. So we need also a new generation of doctors that are sensitive and know better these topics. Because I don't know here, but in Italy, this type of knowledge is not taught as should be for the new students. The student of medicine probably need to know a bit more about this possibility, about the omics, about the artificial intelligence, about the gut microbiome and so on. So there is also a need of refreshing the medical course. Education also for the medical doctor, because maybe they became doctor 20 years ago. But in the meantime, medicine has changed enormously. And in the future, it will be even more. there is an acceleration of knowledge.
Dramatically
Yes,
acceleration.
Absolutely. So
I would like you to invite you to our
Thanks a
institute,
lot.
to our clinic,
Yes,
and to
great pleasure.
follow up our
Yes,
talk.
for sure.
It's very beautiful
Very
place.
beautiful,
it's
yes.
Not like an ordinary clinic, like
No,
not
no.
ordinary hospital.
No, this helps a lot, psychological attitude of patient, because if you are in an obscure place, not so beautiful, you depress yourself.
Yeah, it's
So-
very strange. 5 years ago, you published a work about inflammaging,
Yes,
inflammation, and to involve in this process into aging.
yeah. Remember that I am basically a
Immunologist.
general pathologist specialized in immunology. I was teaching these topics, and in about 25 years ago, I wrote a review in an obscure journal, the Annals of the New York Academy of Science, which is not Nature, Science, and so on. And I proposed this idea. Nowadays, this Inflammaging has more than 6,000 quotations, which is an enormous number, despite being proposed in an obscure journal. This suggests that what is important in science and in medicine is not the journal where you publish. Of course, it's important.
Yeah.
It's better to publish in Nature than...
In Lancet,
Yes,
and
yes, yes.
Nature.
But what is important is what you published. And this was probably the importance of inflammation for the diseases of aging. And the other point that was important was to offer a Unitarian concept, because otherwise the different diseases of aging in the heart, the brain,
Different time
were,
of aging.
were treated differently. Inflammaging offer a Unitarian way.
Unique way.
So Unitarian. So this means that if you decrease inflammation, you decrease not simply one disease, but multiple diseases. So this is the basic ideas to treat, to address the age-related diseases not one by one, but all together. This is the point.
And what are the markers of inflammation?
Great. When I started, the markers of inflammation were very few. Now, in the 25 years, there was an enormous development of markers of inflammation. So we are just scratching the surface, because probably inflammation is very complex, and many organs and systems contribute, not only the classical cytokines and so on. So this is the reason why we decided, for example, in Nizhny Novgorod and the Lobachevsky University, to suggest an inflammatory clock. We started with 50 molecules about, and we identified the 10 most informative. And now we set up this inflammaging clock that I hope you will use here. Of course, this inflammaging clock can be improved. Can be improved. We can add another molecules if necessary and so on, but this is a very good starting point. So for the first time, we can quantify the inflammatory status of a person, apart from his or her age, even in young people, even in people like you, identifying person by person with explainable artificial intelligence the personalized inflammaging that each person has. So it's a tremendous progress to quantify and to personalize.
And what unique markers? CRP, cytokines?
These are the classical markers, but there are many others. And together with another clock that I published with the people in Stanford before, for example, there is a molecule CXCL9, which is at the top. And is at the top, the most informative, and the people usually do not measure it. But you can do it here. Why not? It's the most informative.
And how downgrade the inflammation? To use what kind of medicine should you use, and if you find a lot of biomarkers of inflammation?
Well, it depends person by person.
Yeah, of course.
So first of all, we can personalize it. You know that, for example, nowadays there are monoclonal antibodies against some of these. So why not? I can use, if for example, IL-6 or CXCL9 is very high in you, I can start with specific monoclonal antibodies, this to you, but not in another guy, because in another guy there can be another inflammatory molecules that can be more important. So we can personalize. For example, there are a lot of monoclonal antibodies against IL-6, IL-1, you know.
They were very popular when the COVID
Exactly.
epidemic.
And we can also give a look to your general asset, and we can suggest a specific diet or something, more exercise. You know, we can.
Yeah. Excuse me, Claudio, just 1 minute, I'll be back. Елена Анатольевна, добрый день.
Добрый день, Кирилл.
Мы сейчас с профессором Клаудио Франчески обсуждаем вопросы системного хронического воспаления. Скажите, пожалуйста, какие маркеры воспаления существуют и какие тесты может сдать обычный человек, придя в лабораторию?
Эти тесты существуют, или маркеры существуют с прошлого века, то есть с 20-го. И в 20 веке самым известным маркером воспаления была скорость оседания эритроцита. С каждым годом в этом веке присоединяются все новые и новые маркеры. Так, например, реактивный белок, ревматоидный фактор и антиострептолизин. Это биохимические маркеры, которые широко известны и которые может сдать любой наш пациент. Помимо этого есть иммунохимические маркеры, такие как ферритин, знаменитый ферритин, прокальцитонин и, как ни странно, сейчас на первое место мы выходим по маркерам пищевой непереносимости. Это специфические ИГГ, которые можно сделать в нашей лаборатории. Представлены они 287 точками.
В последнее время стал популярен анализ на занулин.
Да, вы совершенно правы, Кирилл. Он действительно отражает проницаемость кишечной стенки. И когда повышается данный параметр, то мы говорим о том, что возникает вопрос о хроническом воспалении.
Елена Анатольевна, потрясающая лаборатория, огромное количество различного оборудования, дорогостоящего. Скажите, пожалуйста, можно ли на данном оборудовании выполнять тесты, которые отражают именно биологический возраст? Ведь хронологический возраст зафиксирован у нас всех в паспорте, скажем, длину теломера или еще какие-то показатели, которые отражают как раз биологический возраст.
Эти тесты есть. И помимо необычных тестов, как, например, длина теломера, существуют еще и обычные тесты, которые отражают биологический возраст и иммунофенотипический возраст. Такими тестами являются банальные исследования обменов в организме человека.
Какие-то примеры можете привести?
Конечно, например, липидный обмен, углеводный обмен, когда мы рассматриваем глюкозу, инсулин, гомоцистеин и другие исследования. Помимо этого, как ни странно, мы забываем порой о том, что у нас широкий предмет для диагностики именно биологического возраста могут представлять исследования ПЦР. Например, лактазная недостаточность. Вот вам тоже объект для рассмотрения как маркера долголетия.
Елена Анатольевна, спасибо вам огромное за такой экскурс, за ваш профессионализм. Я побежал обратно к Клаудио Франчески для того, чтобы продолжить разговор о старении и о системном воспалении.
Спасибо большое, Кирилл. Хорошего вам дня.
Antioxidants.
Well, the antioxidant, there is a very controversial
because they can lead even more metastasis.
One topic that is a bit less controversial is the omega-3s and vitamin D, you know.
Yeah.
People still think that vitamin D is important only for the bone, but is extremely important for the immune system.
It's like a hormone. Some science work says that it's not only vitamins, like hormone. Hormone.
Yes, but so vitamin D is extremely important, is underestimated. Of course, you cannot use too much vitamin D because can be toxic. So vitamin D, I don't, well, it depends on person to person.
Yeah.
And the other are omega-3s that there was a recent paper suggesting that it decreases inflammation, for example.
If there is an oxidative stress, when you give to this person omega-3, you can burn more.
No, you decrease it. There is a paper in I think in a major journal. So no.
It can be pro-inflammatory. I saw some works that
No,
negative can be.
omega
If
3
person have,
omega 3 are not, are anti-inflammatory, definitely.
But if there is a work, I saw that there was a work, a study, when the person have much oxidative stress, you shouldn't give to him omega-3 because you could lead more pro-inflammatory.
Yes, probably you are
First of
right.
all, you should.
No, I am not talking in
don't-
these people. I'm talking on normal people,
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
without it.
Yeah.
You are right. But all this type of treatment should be under strict control.
Yeah.
People do yourself is not the best.
And what about turmeric, curcumin?
Curcumin, I published several papers on curcumin. Curcumin would be the ideal molecule, but there is a problem. If you eat curcumin, it's not absorbed. It's not absorbed. It's absorbed in a minimal quantity. So it's not enough to eat curcumin because the body do not absorb it. So we have to find, I don't know, it has been studied, the way of absorbing.
Okay.
But if you, in vitro experiment, curcumin is spectacular. I did some work on it.
Let's talk about more epigenetic clocks.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you. In recent years, epigenetic has been developing rapidly, and partly thanks to the data suggesting that the health is depending about 80% about epigenetic and only 20% about genetic. But as for me, I have some doubts about this proportion. There are many examples of close relatives. Some of them, for example, drink alcohol, brothers and sisters, and some of them smoke cigarettes, but they live much more longer. They are relatives who stay in a healthy way of life.
Ну, здесь я, кстати, задаю очень провокационный вопрос Клаудио по поводу эпигенетики. Что такое эпигенетика? Есть генетика, набор генов, с которыми мы рождаемся, а есть эпигенетика, это система управления нашими генами, которая либо активирует, либо тормозит действие определенных генов. Ну, грубо говоря, какие-то физические факторы. Радиация, курение, алкоголь, которые негативно способны влиять, либо положительные факторы, хороший сон, прием БАДов, физическая активность, они, наоборот, поддерживают деятельность генов. Мне кажется, я об этом писал в своей книге «Безопасный биохакинг», вот, кстати, эта книга, о том, что 80% это перебор. Но не может настолько сильно влиять эпигенетика. Это лобби определенных компаний, которые занимаются продвижением продуктов в области здорового образа жизни. Может быть, это не так, но посмотрим.
Don't you think that the role of epigenetics is being overestimated when people say that 80% of your health depended on epigenetic, and maybe it can be even lobbied by the companies that produce some supplements, some vitamins, and some healthcare products?
I think that you are right, because I have done a lot of studies on the genetics of centenarians, and the idea is that the role of genetics increases over 100, especially in people over 105, 110, and so on. The other point is that longevity runs in families, as you said.
Yeah.
But the families do not share only genetics. Usually in the family you eat the same stuff, the same food. You have the same economic status, and so on. What is important is also the sharing of lifestyle. And another, recently it has been shown that family members share the gut microbiome.
Yeah.
The gut microbiome altogether have 100 times the genes of our genome. So when you share the microbiome between mother and son, mother and daughter, or a member of the family, you share also genes, the genes of the microbiome. So, and there is another genetics, which is the genetics of the mitochondrial DNA, which is inherited only by the mother. So there are three genetics. The genetics of the nucleus, which increases, the importance increases with aging, the genetics of the microbiome, and the genetics of the mitochondria that is inherited by the mother. So the genetics of longevity is much more complex than usually is written in newspaper. Regarding epigenetics, I was probably one of the first to publish an epigenetic clock into 2012 on aging cell. And then I collaborated with Steve Horvath. That was the first.
The author of Epigenetic.
Yes, and I showed that the epigenetic age of the centenarians is 8 years less than their chronological age. So the centenarians are 8 years epigenetically younger than their chronological age. But the sons and daughters of the centenarians, the offspring, using the same clock, are also 5 years younger. So this means, as I said previously, that there is not only genetics, but also the sharing of lifestyle habits, which is important.
Но здесь вот Клаудио говорит о том, что он связался со Стивом Хорвардом. Стивен Хорвард его даже называет человеком, который научился измерять скорость старения организма. Дело в том, что в 2013 году этот американский ученый, профессор Калифорнийского университета в Лос-Анджелесе, разработал эпигенетические часы старения. Они стали универсальным механизмом отражения не только биологического возраста старения тканей, но и также это стало инструментом для того, чтобы оценивать влияние какой-то терапии на наш возраст. Позже появилось множество других эпигенетических часов старения, например, GrimAge или Dune Pace 11, которые оценивают скорость биологического старения организма.
And could I ask you about sharing the food and family microbiome? The other question, the big role of Helicobacter pylori in the cancer development, not about stomach disease, about cancer. If you take some therapy, antibiotics therapy against Helicobacter pylori, but your neighbors, your family do not take it, and after it you share some microbiome, you can again
I don't know if this topic has been studied. I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's an important question, but I don't know what it is. But coming back to your epigenetic clock, now there are many clocks. We, for example, in Bologna, we recently published a new clock, epigenetic clock, with a minimum number of CPGs. And I think that this is as informative as the larger clock, but cost much less. So I think that it could be of interest for you to use in this clinic.
Yeah, of course. One of the latest science work about epigenetics clocks shows that, for example, Rapamycin, that was, everybody think that it is the molecule of future longevity medicine.
Yeah.
It can develop eldering of epigenetic clocks.
There is an unfortunate case. You know, one of the most brilliant person in the study of aging was Blagos Cloni.
Yeah, he takes
Yes.
Rapamycin.
I met him several times. He was the editor of Aging, an important journal. Brilliant person.
He was an oncologist.
A very important new hypothesis and theory of aging, but he was obsessed to stay younger, and he was taking too much Rapamycin, too much. So this is the case of a brilliant person that obsessed to stay younger, took too much Rapamycin, and he got a cancer because Rapamycin
Turn off immune system.
Yes, exactly. So you must be careful.
And what do you think about Rapamycin?
No, Rapamycin is a very good drug. But again, as we said before, whatever you take to stop or to slow aging or to rejuvenate, you must be careful because our body is very complex and you cannot do by yourself because all the people are obsessed to stay young.
Everybody.
Everybody. So, but don't do by yourself. Be careful and go to a doctor, and in particular to a doctor who know this topic, because otherwise you can do like Blagosclon. The poor Blagosclon is a real pity. We missed one of the most brilliant person in the field.
God bless him.
Yeah.
Ну вот сейчас, например, мы обсуждаем возможности применения рапамицина в качестве молекулы долголетия. На самом деле рапамицин известен давно, он применяется в иммунологии, в трансплантологии как иммуносупрессант. Но с 2006 года его стали исследовать в качестве молекулы долголетия. Большое количество исследований на мышах показали его возможность как раз сокращать скорость старения организма. Исследования на людях, они противоречивы. Так, одно из последних исследований, которое было опубликовано 25 октября 2024 году, показало, что рапамицин может ускорять старение по 16 эпигенетическим часам. Поэтому так важно разобраться, работает ли рапамицин с точки зрения лекарства от старости, либо нет.
And when we are talking about aging, everybody thinks about two signs of aging. First, it's eldering of the skin. And the second one, it's low energy. There are a lot of cosmetic procedures that can make you youth-looking person. There are a lot of brilliant plastic surgeons that could make you look much more younger. And if we are talking about energy, there are some stuff like NAD or precursors of NAD to produce much more energy by mitochondria. What do you think about NAD and about precursors of NAD like NMN, NR, niacin?
First of all, this is not, I published hundreds of papers, but I have not addressed myself the research on this topic, first of all. The research on NAD is extremely interesting. And there are recent papers in favor of the hypothesis. But again, I think that it has been popularized in books, in famous book, and by people especially of the Harvard University.
David Sinclair?
Yes, exactly, just to... They emphasize too much that this is the pill of rejuvenating. I don't think that there is one way.
Pill.
No, definitely. Our body is too complex to rejuvenate just
one pill.
with this. But the research is very interesting, absolutely, is very interesting.
А вот это очень интересная тема, потому что она сейчас крайне популярна. Это различные капельницы с NAD, это прием прекурсоров NAD вроде NMN, NR, либо B3 витамин. Конечно, у каждого вещества есть как полезные стороны, так и отрицательные стороны. Как говорил Парацельс, все есть яд и все лекарство, все зависит от дозы. Но NAD действительно обладает огромным количеством положительных свойств, судя по тем научным работам, которые мы имеем. Это и защита ДНК, это и повышение уровня энергии, это защита наших митохондрий. Но стоит также учесть различные отрицательные факторы. Например, прием NAD способен быстрому, ускоренному расходу метильных групп. Как мы знаем, метильные группы крайне важны для нашей внутренней системы детокса, для функции метилирования в нашем организме. И когда истощаются эти метильные группы, страдает функция детокса, может увеличивать уровень гомоцистеина, что может провоцировать развитие сердечно-сосудистых заболеваний. Поэтому палка о двух концах. Также ряд работ показывает, что раковые клетки приспосабливаются к отсутствию глюкозы и способны использовать в качестве энергии как раз молекулы NAD. Поэтому, если есть какой-то онкологический процесс, прием NAD будет способствовать ее бурному развитию, появлению метастазов.
There are a lot of hallmarks of aging. And for example, mitochondrial dysfunction, oxidative stress, decreasing of length of telomere. What do you think are the most important hallmarks of aging, and what kind of medicine can really works directly for hallmarks of aging at the present moment?
Very interesting question. And I have to remind you that at the end of 2013, there was an important meeting organized by the National Institute of Health in Bethesda, in the States. On that occasion, it was launched the so-called geroscience.
Yeah.
Geroscience, we published the paper in Cell, and we suggested that there are 7 pillars regarding aging. Some of the pillars you mentioned, mitochondrial DNA, proteostasis, autophagy, and so on. But this mechanism work together in a big network. So you cannot treat this topic isolated. So they are integrated each other. Later, in a paper on Nature Review Endocrinology that I published in 2018, and is quoted more than about 3,000 times, so very much, very popular means, I suggested that if something goes wrong in these pillars, these 6 pillars, they converge on inflammation and inflammaging. So the idea is that you can eventually combat the aging mechanism, the basic aging mechanism, just trying to decrease inflammation. This is very important because the idea is that you have not to treat the diseases of aging one by one, but all together. And how? Because there are these 7 pillars. But the 7 pillars converge on inflammation. So by combating inflammation and inflammaging, you combat all the major components, mechanistically, component of aging. This is the reason why we developed an inflammaging clock. Because the inflammatory age that you have can give you information about the functioning of all the major pillars, mechanistic pillars of aging.
There are very popular peptides now. And we know peptides from centuries. For example, insulin is peptide. And nowadays, GLP-1 agonists are very popular, and they also reduce inflammation.
Exactly. Probably one of the major effects of these last compounds that were suggested for obesity, they are basically anti-inflammatory. Probably these are the new wave, the new advance regarding how to decrease inflammation. Of course, you must be careful because there can be side effects, you know.
And what do you think about microdosing of GLP-1? Microdosing, because some people use microdose.
I think that this is something that is being studied now. Exactly. This is a very hot topic for research. So to use this anti-diabetic and anti-obesity drugs to decrease inflammation and the rate of aging at a different dose, but we don't know the dose. We yet do not know the dose, and this is a very hot topic in research. You could help us in.
Of course, I will do.
Yes, here it could be a very interesting topic of research with you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
And this again stress that inflammation and endocrinology work together.
And what about other peptides? For example, there are a lot of peptides for mitochondrial function, for endothelial function, for giving up the libido, and there are some Japanese science that produce SS31 peptides for mitochondrial to repair mitochondrial dysfunction. What do you think about era of peptides in longevity medicine?
Well, again, this is not my topic, so I am quite superficial in this area, but I am the editor-in-chief of the most important journal on aging after Nature Aging, regarding the impact factor. First, Nature Aging. The second is the journal I am the editor-in-chief, Aging Research Reviews. and I receive a lot of papers on this topic. So it's a very hot topic, but it is not yet defined. We need several years of research to understand which is better, which are the side effects, if they are effective in old person, which age is better. So there are a lot of question marks still. But the topic is very hot, very interesting. And there is a lot of money around, you know.
About money, I would like to ask you about resveratrol, because David Sinclair sold his company for
a lot of money.
For a lot of money. It was about $700 million.
Absolutely.
But later on, scientific work that shows that
no, you have to drink, I think, 10 liters of Sardinian wine to have enough resveratrol. So, well, maybe you can try.
No, thank you.
Canonao.
And what about alcohol? Because it's one part of Mediterranean diet, but WHO, World Health Organization, says that there is not equal healthy dose of alcohol. It's very toxic even for neurons.
I don't agree. We suggested that one glass of good red wine is okay, and is a stupid idea that stopping wine you can live longer. I think it's the contrary. There is no evidence that a small amount of good wine is no, really. I am very clear on this.
You are Italian and you are doctor. What?
I did a European project, and I spent 9 million euros, and in our recipe for the Mediterranean diet, we suggested to have 1 glass of wine if the people like it. And the results showed that 1 year of Mediterranean diet rejuvenate your body with the epigenetic clock that we were mentioning of 1 year and a half. I do not believe at all that small amount of wine are toxic. You know that there is a general theory on aging that small amounts of toxic substances increase your
immune system.
Yes, exactly. So this is a general theory. It's not a stupid one.
I talk to my patient, if you want to have some burger or some pizza, you can try it, because you train your immune system to fight against some toxic, not often, but sometimes you can take it.
Yes, but this is a very important theory, that small amount, very small. I published a paper where I showed that, that Mediterranean diet, which the vegetables contain minimal amounts of toxic substance, not because they
pesticides?
Not because they are added by agriculture. No.
By itself.
They synthesize themselves
from
the plants, the vegetables that we eat synthesize themselves small amounts of toxic substances. So when we eat salad, we
take toxic substance.
We take very small amount of toxic substance, and this help the system to stay healthy. This is very important. It's not because the vegetables have toxic because the people add chemicals for growing them. No, it's not this. The plant themselves produce small amount of toxic substance. Of course, you have to eat 5 kilos of salad in order to have a toxic effect. The same is for the wine. So this is a general theory of aging. It's very important. So what the people say that even if you drink just a glass of wine, this is bad. It's stupid. It's not scientific.
Maybe for microbiome for Italian people, it's good. But if you give this red wine to Chinese people, their microbiome cannot
Yes, this is a very interesting...
break down
Yes.
toxic acetaldehyde, for example.
Absolutely, absolutely. You are totally right. What we need in the study of aging is that until now, the majority of the studies have been conducted in Europe, US, and Australia. Most of the other people, so India, Africa, we don't know, we do not know what the microbiome is important, the diet and so on. So we need to increase the number of investigations on aging, on diet, on the clocks and so on, in other populations that are not European, not US, not Australian and so on, and go and check in the billions of people that are in other countries. Because the research on aging is biased, and we need a lot of research,
a lot of
even
data.
in Russia, for example, because the genetic of Russian
data.
people is different
from
the genetics of Italian.
Absolutely.
So we have to translate what has been found in other population into the Russian people, the Russian population. This is something that we have to do. So there is not a universal recipe.
Approach, yeah.
Mankind is very different, very heterogeneous.
And do you know in USA are popular now some drinks, some shots that contain special probiotics that break down acetaldehyde, and they use this shot before they drink some alcohol, and this special bacteria form, they break down toxic acetaldehyde.
I think that everything this is
Marketing.
crazy. I don't. I have a lot of doubt about this type of habit. Sorry, but.
Yeah. And what about?
I am old-fashioned, but.
What about senolytics?
Well, first of all, scientifically speaking, with the time, there is an increase of senescent cells in our body. We do not know exactly how many senescent cells accumulate in the gut, in the kidney, in the liver, and so on. We do not know. I have published a paper using 3 types of molecules to induce senescence. And I checked senescence with 3 methods, and there is an enormous heterogeneity. So the senescent cells are extremely heterogeneous regarding what they produce, how many there are, where they are. So the use of senolytics has to take into account our ignorance today about this, the distribution, the number, and so on. So the other point is that most of the stuff that are produced by the senescent cells are inflammatory compounds. Yeah. So we go again to inflammaging. So I like a lot the idea to kill senescent cells in order to reduce inflammation. We are just at the beginning because we do not have enough information about how the senescent cells renovate themselves, are produced. And senescent cells do play also a positive role, are not there only to cause senescence and cancer and so on. There is a benefit part of senescent cells that you cannot avoid. So you must be careful in decreasing the number of senescent cells because of our ignorance, as I said. And we, in order to start treatment, we, at the same time, we should know a bit more. So the protocols are very, there are a lot of proposals, very interesting, but is a very developing field. Is not yet ready, is not yet established, and also the long-term effect of this therapy is not known. If you have to have senolytics once every 6 months, every year is not known. So it's a very interesting topic, but it's still in its infancy.
What kind of good work can do in our bodies senescent cells?
Well, they are important, for example, in development. In development, senescent cells. So senescent cells are physiological.
Yeah.
A small number of senescent cells are always there. You have senescent cells in your body, but there are cells that continuously kill the senescent cells. So the number is remain low. When the immune system age, the immune system is no more able to kill, to let the number of senescent cells stay low, and so the senescent cells grown up. But the senescent cells are physiological cells. You have senescent cells,
of course,
not many, and there is the immune system
kill
continuously take the number low. The problem is that with immunosenescence, the number of senescent cells is not grown up, is no more controlled, and there are too many. And so you have senolytics in order to decrease them. But we have a lot of question marks still. When, how many treatment, which type of treatment, how long, in which person. For example, in very old person, I don't think that is good. So we have to decide if we have to treat adults, but adults when? When they are 20, 30, 40, 50, we don't know. So there are a lot of questions.
I just talked to one of the famous hockey players in the world, Alex Ovechkin. He is our famous star, and he just told me that one of his life hacks of healthy lifestyle is intermittent fasting or calorie restriction. Саш, привет. Слушай, огромная удача увидеть тебя здесь, в межсезонье, в Москве. Вот у каждого человека есть какие-то свои полезные привычки. Например, это ежедневно проходить 10 тысяч шагов. Это, скажем, стакан теплой воды по утрам, после того, как сразу проснулся. Это не есть после 6 часов вечера. Можешь назвать свои 5 полезных привычек, которым ты следуешь для того, чтобы поддерживать здоровый образ жизни?
Ну, я вообще люблю сладкое, но я последние, наверное, лет 7-8 стараюсь его вообще не есть. Ну, ты знаешь, что если там...
Да. Ты даже от шоколада отказался позавчера. Да.
Стараюсь по возможности, если есть дневной сон, час-полтора, я стараюсь это делать, потому что вот с моим расписанием сегодня...
У тебя перелеты постоянно.
Это очень тяжело, да, вот в Москве, но в сезоне после каждой тренировки у меня всегда сон 2 часа. Что еще? Стараюсь не завтракать.
То есть у тебя интервальное голодание?
Ну да, даже во время сезона я могу прийти, там, съесть, не знаю, ложку омлета и все. И до обеда я не стараюсь ничего не есть. Конечно, побольше воды. Вот. А так, в принципе, как у всех спортсменов, питание, тренировки и здоровый образ жизни.
What do you think about senescent cells and inflammaging, slow down inflammation and calorie restriction?
Well,
and intermittent fasting.
I am a co-author of a paper where, together with another Italian scientist that is working in Australia, we showed that a very prolonged fasting of more than 48 hours is deleterious, and inflammaging goes up a lot. So you must be careful. You know that our body is a very complex system. If you fast too much, in this case, of course,
it's stress for immune system.
2 days, 48 hours, today. If you fast 48 hours, the inflammatory
goes up.
Yes, goes up enormously. I have just published this. So be careful in fasting.
And what about metformin or berberine?
Again, we discovered this topic since few years ago. So we need a lot of study, a lot of observation. So, but we have to do something. So I'm not against the fact that people try this and that. Yeah. I would be careful in giving to the general public the idea that they have just to fast. You cannot say to the general public, please fast for 24 hours or more. So it's stupid, because there can be pros and cons. Fasting is very interesting. Probably our ancestor, Homo sapiens, they were eating when they had something, and then they were fasting for several days. So fasting is something that is present in the evolution of Homo sapiens. So it's not something that we discovered.
Yeah.
So, okay, but we know more studies. As I told you, too long fasting is extremely inflammatory. And we don't know how much. How much? 24 hours, 48 hours, 12 hours, 18 hours, at what age, for men, for women, for old person, for what? So these are question marks. We have to study. I am so sorry, but we have to study. We have to put money to organize meeting and to study. And in a few years we will have a more close, not definitive, but closer answer.
Only 2 questions I have. Last 2 questions, please. Thank you, dear Claudio, for your time.
Thanks to you.
I'm very
You
appreciative.
are provoking me. So.
It's scientific provocation.
Yes, I like
Yeah,
provocation.
thank you.
You know.
Yeah.
Science is disagreement, not agreement. Disagreement. Sorry, I can tell you this. There was a meeting in Montreal, Canada, in the 2019, where a lot of scientists on aging participated, including Professor Ivanchenko and myself. And the organizer took the advantage of having so many scientists at the meeting to ask them if what they were, the definition of aging and what we should do. And so they asked the question, and we should put cross to some questions. What do you think? Eventually, the result was that among the 71 scientists present at the meeting, there was no agreement about a definition on aging, no agreement of how to define aging. And these were the best most of the best scientists on aging. This means that aging is so complex that we are just scratching the surface of this phenomenon. And of course there is no agreement about what diet, what fasting, what type of senolytics, because the topic is extremely complex. And in the last paper that we published together with Professor Ivanchenko, Alexei Maskalov, etc., we suggested that aging is extremely personalized. Each person is aging in his or her own way. Each person individually. There is no general rules for a person. You can imagine why. Because in your life you were eating in a different way from me. You have a different genetic from me. You have a different father, different mother, different geography, different everything. Why our aging should be the same? It will be different.
Of course.
So we have to take into account this enormous variability of aging in people. This is one of the most important challenges, and this is the reason why 71 scientists did not agree about what aging is. From an epistemological point of view, this is very important. So the object of our research is so complex that it's very difficult to disentangle. We need to cooperate with each other to try to understand what is going on.
We live in a lot of stress, a lot of chronic stress, not acute stress, because acute stress is helpful for us. But chronically stress, it leads to damage of our bodies, damage to our health. Do you agree that there is adrenal fatigue syndrome, or there is no such syndrome like adrenal fatigue? Because some science said that it's not a scientific term. Another one said that stress against for adrenal glands and make dysfunction of adrenal glands.
So my answer, this is a very important question, an open question. So there is no definite answer, but my personal answer is the following. First of all, a little bit of stress and stressors is good because activate your body and the capability of the body to adapt.
Evolution.
Because the aging process is a continuous adaptation. Yeah. So a bit of stress helps in this adaptation. Second, you cannot to define a stressor good in this sense or bad is difficult because it is highly individualized. Something that can be a stressor for you cannot be a stress for me.
For you.
Okay? So you have to take in mind this. Third, there are a lot of papers showing that psychological stressors impinge upon the immune system and increase inflammation and inflammaging. It has been published. Mm-hmm. So pure psychological stressors have to be taken in mind if they are too strong in order to decrease inflammaging and to have an healthy aging. They are very important. This is a very important topic for new research. Until now, we were biased toward biology, but now we have to add psychology on board, because psychological stress and stressors, if they are too much, individually speaking, can increase the rate of aging. And so we have to counteract and decrease psychological stressors related to environmental conditions, the way working. Sometimes the place or the type of work is a big stress. Think about the people who have to work during the night.
Circadian rhythm is totally...
Circadian rhythm is totally destroyed. So I think that we have to pay much more attention to the interaction between psychological stress and the inflammatory effect and the accelerating aging effect.
And how to prevent mental disease?
Well, this I don't know. This is a very... mental disease are... I'm not a specialist. What I can say is that Alzheimer and Parkinson do have a strong inflammatory pathogenesis. So to decrease inflammation before, because in order to have Alzheimer or Parkinson, these diseases start between 30 and 20 years before. So we have to start to decrease inflammation, not when Parkinson is clinically evident, but we have to start earlier. So we have to decrease the inflammatory status 20 or 10 years before. In order, I published a paper recently on Parkinson, on a clock, showing that just measuring 8 molecules in the blood,
tau protein, no?
8 proteins in the blood, you can predict Parkinson with 7 years in advance before the motor symptoms.
Which kind of these proteins are?
They are related to immunological pathway and inflammaging. So again, inflammation is there.
What kind of supplements do you take?
The supplement is to have a conversation with people like you in this environment, with such provocation.
And with glass of wine.
With a small type of wine, maybe after we can go there. You are provoking me, so you are... And this probably rejuvenate my neurons, you know.
Dear Claudio, thank you so much. It was amazing, and I think that our audience was very pleased by such interesting talk and about your clever mind about longevity, about inflammation, about inflammaging. And it was a great honor for us to see you in Moscow and to speak with you. Thank you so much.
No, thanks to you. Thanks to you. And I hope that this will be the beginning of a great collaboration to improve the health of people.
Thank you so much.
No, thanks
Thank
to
you.
you. Great.
Thank you. Thank you.